Hello, my friends. Again, let me say welcome to another edition of John's Sports Corner. And do we have a interesting program for you? Because we know that the playoffs are in the air, and tomorrow the Knicks are gonna beat the crap out of Indiana, and that's my call. So, John, over to John's Sports Corner.
Thank you so much, Trevor. Just let me correct this before I say a very good afternoon to our friends and family. It's tonight that the Knicks take on the Indiana Pacers, Trevor. But certainly, again, a very good afternoon to our friends and family out there. And thank you so much for visiting and staying with John Sports Corner here on the SosoBone Media Network. Let me remind you to go to the Winner's Circle Radio in store in the SosoBone shop. And again, I love to say it, shop till you drop. There are T-shirts there are mugs, backpacks, of course, sorrel, and the great Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee. But let's talk sports as usual. We start with birthdays. Yesterday, Fitzroy Dunkley, an Olympian, celebrated a birthday. Tomorrow, Patrick Husbands, Barbadian-born jockey, who spent most of his riding career at Woodbine in Canada. In 1990, he became the youngest jockey to win the prestigious Barbados Cup and at just 16 years old and 9 months. Friday, marvelous Marvin Hagler, he would have celebrated a birthday. You know, Marvin Hagler won the first world title in September 1980 when he stopped Alan Minter in round 3, and all his fights after that were title fights. And you remember Tony Gray, former Trinidad and Tobago and West Indies fast bowler. He will celebrate a birthday on Friday also. Then on Saturday, Roslin Emanuel, former St. Lucia and West Indies cricketer and a Cricket Hall of Famer, celebrates a birthday. Again, happy birthday, Roslin Emanuel. On Sunday, the first Jamaica Olympic gold medalist would have celebrated a birthday, none other than Arthur Wint. And also celebrating Sunday is Chandis Porter, Olympian on Monday. Vanelli Williams, former Jamaica Sunshine Girl, celebrates her birthday. And I could never leave out my darling daughter, Kayla, who will celebrate her birthday also on Monday. Happy birthday to all. It would be remiss of me if I didn't start with NBA basketball and the New York Knicks, who unseated the defending champions Boston Celtics 4-2 to get to the Eastern Conference Finals starting tonight. Knicks sent the Garden wild Friday night by defeating the Celtics 119-81 in Game 6 to secure their place in the final of the Eastern Championship, and they will be taking on the Indiana Pacers. You know, when you get to playoff or championship games, defense is always a factor. And don't think defensive specialist Aguga is nobody. He's the heart of the Knicks defense. British-born of Nigerian parents and have already an NBA championship in his trophy chest when he won with the Toronto Raptors in 2019. The Pacers cruised past Cleveland Cavaliers 4-1 to get to the final. And out west, Oklahoma City Thunder opened the Western final with a 114-88 win over the Minnesota Timberwolves in Game 1 yesterday. You know, since 2018, Trevor, there have been a different NBA championship winner in the championship game. And this year, it will be no different. this year will be the 7th on a trot that there's a different NBA champion.
That talks about parity in the league, John.
Well, 2019, it was the Toronto Raptors. 2020, the Los Angeles Lakers. 2021, Milwaukee Bucks. 2022, Golden State Warriors. 2023, Denver Nuggets. And of course, 2024 last year, the Boston Celtics. And we move on to some track and field, Trevor, as Kerry Mloud was the only winner at the Atlanta City Games last weekend. He leapt 8.33 meters to win the men's long jump in his first competition of the season, while Guyana's Emanuel Archibald leapt a personal best 8.22 meters to place third. Akira Nugent and Megan Tapper both less than their best in the women's 100 hurdles. And a disappointing run by Oblique Seville in the men's elite 100 meters, finishing down the track in 10.53 meters. It makes me wonder if he's having one of those leg niggles again. Meanwhile,
my question is, what time did he get to the game? Was his trainer there? Was his coach there?
Maybe not, Trevor. Since it's not a major meet.
But you see, John, that is the problem that I see, where you're accustomed to having breakfast every morning before you go running. And one morning you decide not that, you're gonna skip breakfast. Therefore, your performance on that day is not as it used to be. I say that when it comes to our track and field athletes, that you cannot have a on again, off again quality preparation, okay? Where you're used to your coach massaging you, stretching you, taking you to your stretches. And yes, if it's the Olympics, they roll out the red carpet. But I would think that when it comes to the other games that really get you tuned up for the upcoming meets, if you're not getting the A-class treatment there, then you might actually go into shock when you start getting the A-class treatment 2 days or 3 days before a major meeting, John. Okay.
Yeah, but I think maybe, Trevor, maybe not the main coach, but a coach or a trainer goes with them, like Civil Law, who is, although he has not won a major medal so far, we can consider him a major athlete, sprinter on the world scene. But, so if he's going away to run, he probably has some trainer, somebody from the club accompanying him.
Well, if he does not, John, then he really should not go, because, this reminds me of what Asafa Powell complained about, even though we have not gotten the details. But
this is not an international meet, so to speak. We're sending a Jamaica team. Is your club sending you or entering you in different meets around the world now in preparation toward the major championships? This is strictly club.
I understand that, John.
It's not, yeah.
But I'm just saying that I hope that when he goes out representing the club, the standard does not fall off in his preparation, because injuries now can become a factor.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and again, as I said, when I listened to what Asafa Powell was complaining, I haven't got the details. But these could be some of the things, because you cannot wait until you get to fifth form and you have to start taking your exam, and that's when you start learning to study, John. You have to start learning to study from in first form.
Yeah, but as I've said, in Asafa Powell's case, what has he done to help make change with how the track and field is administered now in Jamaica? What have you done?
Well, the first thing he has done, which he never did before, he made the problem transparent, because we never knew that the player, the athletes had a problem with the way the system was set up and how they were being treated. So
No, man, that is something that was known a long time, Trevor.
No,
The administration sometimes didn't. In fact, and it probably even goes across all sports on the island. You know, I mean, Asafa is speaking out now. There's more to it with Asafa than
yes,
than what we know.
But I'm glad you spoke
as
up.
I say, what has he done to
Well,
now to help make change?
He's put his neck on the line, and suddenly we are talking about the problem, even though without saying it is Asafa's problem. We're saying that it is not only track and field that have the problem that he mentioned because he's a track star. We have identified that problem for netball, for swimming, for cricket, for soccer. And so finally, he might have been listening to our program and decided to speak out about track and field. Okay? The fact that we have brought it public, and our job is to take it public. Our job is not to go in and take over J3As. Okay? Our job is to hold them accountable and say, listen, we see a problem in sports across the board. And in this case, we have one person who is bold enough to come out and say, listen, they need to do something. If they want to hire me, I'll do it.
Anyway, Trevor, Deandra Daly making his first appearance as a professional athlete, stopped the clock in 10.12 seconds to finish third in that Atlanta meet. Ashanti Moore, 16.50 seconds, third in the women's elite 150 meters. And of course, the next stop in the Diamond League is Rabat, Morocco, and that's on May 25th. That's that Sunday. That's Sunday, and we certainly have results on that. Okay. In terms of the Grand Slam track, the third leg to move to Philadelphia now, May 31st and June 1st. The Philly leg will be condensed to 2 days instead of 3. And on both days, short hurdles races close the day. The women's 100 hurdles closes day 1, while the men's 110 hurdles close day 2. And perhaps the breaking news here is that Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone will be competing in the women's short hurdles race group, which is the 100 hurdles and the 100 meters. And this will be the first time McLaughlin-Levrone has ever run the 100 meters professionally. The race group will see the first ever face-off between 3 Grand Slam champions. Of course, Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, Akira Nugent, and Daniel Williams. Also announced as a challenger is Swiss Ditaji Kambuji. I am certainly no expert, Trevor, but like I said, for the inaugural Grand Slam leg in Jamaica, I think the Grand Slam track would be better served if it was a one-day meet. Instead of when it was 3 days, they put it back now to 2 days for the Philly leg.
But the question is, John, how many of the athletes are running more than one event in one day? So when it was 3 days, you might have a first day and a third day. But when you have back-to-back, what is your opinion about putting out the type of energy you have to put out for day one and day three versus day one and day two?
Well, that's and I suppose that is why it is set up over days, Trevor, because it's not set up like other track meets where you have preliminaries and finals. Here is groups. So you have the short hurdles, which is the group is 100 hurdles for women and the 100 meters, that group. While for men, it's the 110 hurdles and the 100 meters. Okay. Then you have the, what they call it now, the long hurdles, which is the 400 hurdles and the 400 meters. No, you don't expect a guy to run 400 hurdles and 400 meters on the same day within a 4 hour or so span. So right. I suppose that's why it has become a multi-day meet.
Okay.
How it is set up.
Yes, and that makes sense, because while I raise the issue with there, I'm sure that there are some of our viewers out there who would question why it went from a 3-day meet to a 2-day meet, and whether or not some athletes now will decide that they're not going to participate in certain events because after you do a 400 on day one, you might not recover enough to do a 100 on day two.
It's really, you want to call it an innovative way of setting up a track meet, Trevor, where the athlete is expected to participate in 2 events. Yeah, in order to, should I say, to qualify for to earn money. Yeah.
Okay.
Whether it's 100,000 or 30,000 or 50,000, whatever it is, based on where you finish in each race, and you get points for that. And that determines if you are the 100 grand winner or one of the lesser money prizes. But it's really, and I think, an innovative way of how Grand Slam track, Michael Johnson is the creator, if you want to call him that, of the Grand Slam track and how it is set up.
Okay.
But interesting. But meanwhile, results from the Cantro Sportivo Fontanasa meet in Italy. In the women's triple jump, Dominica's Olympic gold medalist, Thea London, was the winner of the triple jump in 14.31 meters. 2016 110 hurdles Olympic gold medalist Omar Mloud, beginning to show good form once more. He was second in the 110 hurdles in 13.25 meters, while Cuba's Rainier Mena won the men's 200 rather, in 20.15 seconds. Tell you what, Trevor, let's go to a break. We come back with cricket, lovely cricket. Some interesting times going on in cricket, lovely cricket. So we'll have more when we come back.